Let's go. Players, coaches, fans, young and old from across the globe, welcome to the playoff edition of the Round 1 recap show of the Bigs. As always, I'm your host, I'm your commissioner, I am Timmy Westside, and it is my goddamn honor to be here with you all recapping the greatest league in the world. Whoa! Playoffs, the best time of the year. Your boys delivered. Stick taps all around. Some for the better, some for the worse. We'll get into it. No spoilers here. You'll see it, and I'll repeat it a couple of times. You've heard it before. I'll say it again. Weekends win matchups. In the past, it's been goalies win matchups, but weekends, those 2 days, anything within 20 points, you know it's anyone's game. It's happened time and time again. And this week was no different. Both matchups were tight going into the weekend. One closer than the other, but we'll get into it. The weekends were the deciding factor. As a whole, a little bit of a lower scoring affair this week. No teams over 200. It's not about me. Don't want to get into it. It's a loser mentality. But here I am. I did the whole let me check how my team would have done. Oh, I was on the bench. 10 points on the bench. Oh, a 210-point week. Sick. Loser mentality. That's why I'm in the bowl. We don't talk about losers here. We talk about winners. So let's get into it. And we must start. I told you guys, Bill Belichick, the GOAT. Consistency. It's about stringing good days together. And at the end of the season, when it gets cold, that's when you need to be playing your best ball. And this kid has been playing his best ball as of late. I'm talking about the 194.1 Breakfast Club. Eating up on the Portland Backhanders. Never done that little soundbite before. Don't cut that. Takes down the Portland Backhanders. Upset of the week, no doubt about it. 194.1 to 175.3. In the end, it was not close. And it was close until it wasn't. The Breakfast Club. The kid's hot. In his last 7 weeks, he's had 6 games of over 190 points. That beats everyone this week. Highest total of the week for Le Champion. It was back and forth. And then Saturday and Sunday happened. Larry on Saturday put up 59.8 points. And on Sunday, 26.5 as a whole. Outscores Connor 86.3 to 51.7 on the weekend combined. Loses by 20 points. Gets outscored by 24 points, 25 points. Math guy Tim, not the best at it, but there's your difference. He won on offense with 152.9 points, and he won on the back end with 41.2. Goalies, the best goaltending display of the week, I believe. Just checking my notes on the other guys. Yeah, and not even close. Goalies, we'll start there. You see him at the top of the leaderboard. Linus Ullmark, 24.1 points, led all players this week. In fantasy, a 3-0 record. Goalies notoriously have stood on their head to win playoff games, playoff rounds, taking teams deep. New idea. We should definitely do a Conn Smythe playoff MVP. Right now, Linus Ullmark, 3-0. How are you? Leading the way. Right behind him, Shesterkin, 1-2, 10.3 points. That one win was a shutout. And Jordan Binnington, 6.8 points, 1-1. 1-1. When all of your goalies can get you a win, huge. Continuing to his top three, his other top two, Brandon Montour, 18.6 points with 3 goals and 3 apples. And Sam Bennett, 16.9 points. 2 goals, 2 apples. I said it last episode. If you can't get on the scoreboard the traditional way, fucking get those elbows out. 9 pims. Hot at the right time. Big matchup next week. Definitely probably feels like he's playing with house's money, but when you squeak into the playoffs and get that purse to win, everything after is gravy. The bowling backhander. Give us that crown. Give us that title belt. There will be a new champion for the 2025 Apollo 420. I just wrote cold week. In a bad spot. In the worst of times. He had a couple dead days. He did have 2 days of over 40 points, but after that, no days over 30 and 2 days under 10. 175.3 is the lowest output this week. He just went cold at the bad time. Nikita Kuch, his number 1 draft pick. Buddy, don't got to talk about me about number 1's not working out until later. Kuch, 2 games, 2 points. Mitchie Marner, 2 or 3 games, 3.6 points. Got to have your dogs being dogs. I talk about it all the time. His 2 top dogs, Slavkovsky, love the guy. Tebrinkat, grinder. He plays bigger than he is. Both at 16.4 points. You can't have those guys leading your team in the playoffs. You just can't have it. Tebrinkat, 2 goals, 3 apples. Slavkovsky, 3 goals, 3 apples. Which leads me to his goalies. Connor Hellebuyck did his job. His goalies had been his bread and butter all year. And I wrote down, it's no secret. You lean on your strengths and you just hope that they come up under the bright lights in the big spot. Other than Hellebuyck, 15 points. 2-0. Wonderwall, 8 points, 1-0. Markey, 6.3, 1-1. Good, not great. And when your big dogs aren't big dogs up front, don't come to play, it hurts you even more. Lowest scoring offense of the week. That's why you do the homework. You write the notes. He went cold. His dogs in the blue paint, they did what they could. Just not enough. 175.3 brings him into the loser's bracket. We'll see what happens next week. Is that all I got on you, Shauner? Yeah. Flipping over to our last game of the week, the best game of the week, the closest game of the week. A little bit heartbreaking for one of the teams, but not for the 182-point Rubber Puckies. They best the Burt Macklin squad, 180.1. Add this to the list of our tight games this season. Not as back and forth as the point total suggests. Jake had a 20-point lead heading into the weekend, 24-point lead, something like that. Saturdays and Sundays, there's something about them that just continue to define matchups. And this one in a big spot for the Rubber Puckies. On Saturday, he puts up 43.8, and then on Sunday puts up 28.2. That gave him a total of 72 points on the weekend. Jake had 48.7. Quick math guy. Yeah, 24-point difference on the weekend, and you lose by 2. Listen, buddy, I know what it's like to have your team not show up when you need it the most. God, outscored 25 points, losing by 2. Kudos to the Rubber Puckies, man. Highest scoring team in the league. That would have been a big upside as well. Highest scoring team in the league this year. Gets it done at the 11th hour. Shauner, his top guys, Slavy, DeBrincat. We talk about it. Okay, cool. Rubber Puckies. That's a top 3 that you want to see. Adin Hill, 14-1 points. And then you get the 1-1. Yeah, it's only 13.6 points for 1 goal and 4 apples. But Connor McDaddy, number 2. And then right behind him, I'm passing the torch, 13.2 points. Sid, the no longer kid, 2 goals, 3 apples on the week. 182, not typically impressive, but in a low-scoring week, you see your big dogs come through in the clutch. Good enough for this week's, catapults him into the winner's bracket, taking on the Breakfast Club next week. Highest scoring team in the league, taking on the lowest scoring team in the league next week. David Goliath, we'd love to see it. We'll see what happens. I'm getting ahead of myself. Adin Hill, McDaddy, Crosby. On the back end, quiet. And we'll see when we start talking about Jake. This was his chance. The goalies. I've said it. Sometimes I go snip, snap, snip, snap. I go back and forth. Goalies. Weekends. Decide matchups. Ken went 2-0 on that front this week. His goalies, even though they weren't great, they were good enough. Yeah, good enough. Offense, good enough. Where was I? Vasilevsky. 6.7 points, 1-1. Mackenzie Blackwood, 2.2, 0-1. Lankinen, no points, 0-1. And somehow that was only marginally worse than Jake's goalies. Offense and defense, as you can tell, 182 to 180, evenly matched. Came down to the weekend. The Burt Macklin squad fell apart. And the goalies. They did better than Kenny's, but left meat on the bone in the biggest of spots when you needed just one extra win. One extra game going to OT. Ken Dog, you're on to next week. Burt Macklin squad. Onto the loser bracket to face off against the Bowling Backhanders. Tough way to lose it on the weekend. You think you're in a good spot. You get axed. I said goalies let him down. None in his top 3. None of them had 10 points or more. The record was 2-3-1 combined. 2 wins on a playoff week. Ken's weren't much better, but actually Ken's were worse. But still, you need an extra dub to get you across that finish line. You can't find it. 17.1 points his goalies got on the week. Swayman, 7.6. He only started one game. He won it. The last two, Bobrovsky, Gustafsson, those are the guys that those are his big names between the pipes. Especially Gusty has been doing it all year for him, and this week they fell short. Bobbers, 6-1, 6.6 points, a 1-2 record. You get 3 games in between the pipes, and you get 1 win. That Saturday loss against the Habbies hurts. And then Gustafsson, 3 points on the week. 0-1-1 record against the Rangers. Yeah, they're frisky. They're playing much better. And St. Louis, 3 points. It hurts. It hurts. When you can point and just be like, that's where I lost it. Had your chance and you didn't come through in a big spot. Doesn't get it done. His offense, and what makes it worse, highlights it even more. His offense was the highest scoring offense of the week, which leads me to his top 3. Tage Thompson, 18.2 points, 3 goals and 2 apples. Sam Reinhart, 13 points, 1 goal and 3 apples. And Tom Wilson, 11.7 points, no goals, 4 apples. Close but no cigar. That's all I got for you fellas for this week. Good games. This week's a doozy. We got David versus Goliath, let's call it. But fucking David's been playing well. And then we got the Berlin Backhanders against the Brent Macklin squad. I don't like my chances against either of them. I think I'm 0-6 against both of them combined on the year. Listen, we thought we were out of harm's way. But if Jake Daniel Boutin drops this one, the Boo Birds are going to be out and the earthquake's going to start. We'll see what happens. Good luck to everyone this week. Boop.